Hi folks, Thomas Henson here with thomashenson.com, and today is another episode of Big Data, Big Questions. And so today's episode, I want to talk more about IoT. So I know we started talking about it in a previous video, but I really want to dig into it a little bit more because I think it's something that's very important for data engineers and anybody involved in any kind of modern applications or anybody involved in big data. So find out about the phases, the 3 phases of IoT right after this. Welcome back. And so today we're going to continue to talk more about IoT, or the Internet of Things. And so if you're not familiar, I've got a video out here where we talked about why it's important for data engineers to know, but I think it's important for anybody involved in modern applications or even on the business side of things. You're really going to see a lot of different information that's being able to come into your data center and into your new projects because of these sensors out there. So let's get a little more comfortable with what's going on with the technology and how that's going to implement to us. And so in this video, I want to talk about the 3 phases. So I think there are 3 phases of IoT, and I think we're starting to get into the 3rd phase, and you'll see why it's going to make sense for data engineers and modern applications when we talk about that 3rd phase. And so just as a recap, remember, IoT, it's not a new concept. It's the ability to have devices. So you have devices out in the physical world that are going to have some kind of IP address, but also be able to send data and receive data back from your core data center or from your core analytics processing. So think about the example I've used before is the dash button, right? You have a dash button where if you're out of toilet paper or if you're out of whatever it is in your house, you're able to push that button, it connects out to a gateway, it's locked into, in the cloud with Amazon to be able to say, hey, order some more Charmin of this particular brand and send it to your door. So real quick example there, but let's talk a little bit more about the phases, and I think that'll give you a more understanding of, okay, this is how that concept and how that whole ecosystem of devices and data and gateways all work together. And so I think just like from a web development perspective, when we talked about, hey, Web 1.0 and Web 2.0, I think with IoT, we've gone through phases of IoT 1.0 and 2.0. I think that these phases are more collapsed than the phases of the web. And part of that is just, we change so fast. And so the first phase was, everybody had a sensor, right? Maybe this is not a smartwatch, but, think about, tracking and the smartwatches. Everybody's like, oh, it's kind of cool, right? I can get in contest and, with my friends and track how many steps I have. And that's pretty cool. Really, we didn't understand what to do with it. It was, still kind of, somewhat a novelty. And so everybody had these sensors, but we really didn't know what to do with them other than just tracking, right? And that's kind of things that we had been doing before, but now we had an internet connection and we could kind of control them on our phone. Fast forward into phase 2. So once we went into phase 2, it wasn't just about, these smart trackers and, these devices that were attached to us, but it started to become, we had smart everything in our homes, right? So, in phase 2, we started having, think of a refrigerator. So you had a smart refrigerator, and people were like, well, that's kind of cool. We have a refrigerator, it's connected to the internet. I can look at photos of it from my phone, and so if I'm at the grocery store and it's like, hey, do I need any more ranch dressing, or do I need any more Tide Pods, or well, maybe Tide Pods aren't in a refrigerator, but well, hopefully not. But if you had pickles or things that you were looking for at the grocery store, or maybe even just your washing machine, right? You're able to turn your washing machine on with your device and say, okay, let's turn the washing machine on. That's pretty cool, right? You set it up. Still kind of novel, not really where we're really seeing this go, right? Because we know as data engineers and people that analytics and being able to predict and being able to prescribe outcomes is where it really goes. And that's where phase 3 is. So phase 3, and that's where we're really entering right now. Phase 3 is when we're able to take all this information. So think of that washing machine, right? We're not just turning that washing machine on from our phone. That device has diagnostics in it that's going to run those diagnostics. And so let's say that there's an error in the onboard, or maybe it's some kind of circuit, but maybe it's just a $10 component on your washing machine that if you replace it within the next 30 days, it's going to prevent you from having to get a brand new washing machine. Now, that's pretty cool, right? That's really cool. So it can send you that information. But instead of just sending you that information, check this out. So that diagnostic that happens goes out, sends that information out to the data center. The data center actually looks and it finds service providers in your area, right? Because it knows where this device is. You've registered it. It knows, where your home is. So it's going to find those service providers in your area, and it's going to send you back an alert saying, hey, we found this component that needs to be replaced on your washing machine. This is going to prevent you from having to buy a new washing machine. Maybe even prevent you from having a flooded washing machine, which, man, who wants to clean up and then have to buy a new washing machine? So how about, these are some times that we've scheduled. We have a service person that can come in your area and replace that part for you. When would you like to schedule that? That's pretty awesome, right? That's really starting to say, hey, we found an error. We believe this is the component that can fix it. And then also, here's some times for us to be able to fix it. So how many steps did it take a human out of the loop? Which is really good, right? From a consumer, we want products like that, right? And so there's a ton of different use cases that we can start to see. So we're starting to see that now with what I call, IoT phase 3. So the phases, just remember the phases, the first one, think of sensors everywhere, smart sensors, but we're really just tracking things. Second became like mobile control, or the ability to have smart everything. So we had, the smart refrigerator, we had the smart washer and dryer, but we still just didn't know what we could do with it. And now when we're into the phase 3, we're starting to prescribe. So we're starting to have these predictive analytics saying, hey, these are things that might happen. Oh, and by the way, this is how we can fix it. And this is actually going to give consumers and other products more information and just a better feeling for the things. And so it can save you time from having to pick up the phone and call to schedule a time for somebody to come in and fix your washing machine. It's going to prevent you from having to go out and buy a new washing machine, right? It makes products more sticky for those companies. So that's all for today's episode of Big Data, Big Questions. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Submit any questions that you have. You have any questions that related to big data, IoT, machine learning? Heck, just send me any questions. I'll try to answer them for you if I get an opportunity. But submit those here or go to my website. Make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time on the next episode of Big Data, Big Questions.